All right, shalom, shalom. I'm Mariah, y'all coming at you another lesson straight out of the Lions Den Camp of Yashala. But before I get started with this lesson, I would like to give all praises to the Heavenly Father in the name of His only begotten Son, in their proper true names. And I would like to start off by saying Kal, Halayim, La, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Ha, Rakah, Kodash, Ma'amath. Definitely want to give double honors to the apostles of GMS and their elders. Definitely want to give double honors to my elder, Harwam, Bon Yashal, Lions Den Camp, located in Jacksonville, Florida. Shalom to the sincere men, women, and children that believe in sincerity and the truth. Shalom. All right. Today's lesson is going to be based off of prophecy. All right. And this is from the article Express US. All right. And it reads, China develops new blowtorch bomb that causes 1800 Fahrenheit fireball and melts metal. Chinese scientists have reportedly crafted a new blowtorch bomb capable of unleashing a 1,000 Celsius fireball that can melt through metal. Allegedly, the hydrogen-fueled bomb greatly surpasses traditional TNT explosive in potency. Designed to generate a white-hot firestone with temperatures over 1,800 Fahrenheit, the 2-kilogram device promises to sustain its inferno for durations 15 times longer than that of a standard TNT blast, resembling napalm's destructive nature. It functions akin to a thermal chain reaction similar to a nuclear weapon, only ceasing when it exhausts its fuel. The China State Shipbuilding Corporation CSSC 705 Research Institute, an authority in underwater weaponry, has claimed development and successful testing of the bomb as reported by Chinese sources. The research led by Wang, I don't know how to say his last name, I'm just going to say Wang X, all right, at CSSC cited, quote, hydrogen gas explosion at night with minimum ignition energy, have a broad explosion range and unleash flames that race outward rapidly while spreading widely, end quote. All right. Wang X elaborated, claiming, quote, this combination allows precise control over blast intensity, all right, easily achieving uniform destruction of targets across vast areas, right, end quote. The weapon operates like a blowtorch, delivering a slower but hotter and more sustained impact, right, but hotter. Right. It says, which the team believes would make it ideal for area denial tasks. It says they also believe the weapon would excel at incinerating targets, including vehicles and drones, due to its metal melting capabilities, man. All right, grab a precept real quick. This is Joel 2:1, and it reads, blow ye the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand. Right? So I can't even hit that. So the day of the Lord is at hand, man. This is why we continue to blow the trumpet today, right? Doing videos, going out on highways and byways to warn our people of World War III, man. As we see the prophecies being lined up by Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, you know, as we see the tariffs war right now that we have with China and these other countries, right? World War III, right? Is in the midst, you know. Everything, all the prophecies are coming, you know, being set up in the proper order to bring forth his prophecies, all right? Which is turning this place into a lake of fire, Babylon, you know, the daughter of Babylon, right? Which is America. Right, the whore that rides upon the scarlet colored beast in Revelation. This place has to be completely burnt and destroyed, man. Fire is the best purging agent, right? So America and the state of Israel will be, will be hit with massive destructions, man. You know, it's destined for this place to be hit with 200 million warheads, man. All right. Which warheads are inside of nuclear missiles, man. It says, verse 2, a day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong and a strong. There hath not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. Right, going into those ICBMs, man. Right, that fire devoureth before them. Right, what's in the heads of any missile? Right, you got the destruction that's in the head. Right, you got warheads in ICBMs. Dealing with this particular bomb, the flamethrower, that's dealing with hydrogen, right, in a solid form. Right, we'll go back to the article in a second. And it, while I was reading the article, just made me think of the fire that the Lord said He's gonna bring upon this earth, man. Right. So it says, a fire devoured before them, right, and we can go to Revelations. We can go to Revelation 9 after this, right, to kind of back this up. A fire devoured before them, and behind them a flame burneth, right? That's the propulsion system that's behind them. What propels the missiles, right? The land is as the Garden of Eden. See, the land is as the Garden of Eden. What did everybody say back? You can think about it in your childhood. I was born in the 80s. All I heard was, America is amazing. Everybody want to come here to make, for the American dream. Everything's beautiful here. You can make a beautiful life for yourself here, right? They believe this is like the Garden of Eden. It says, and behind them a desolate wilderness, and that's the prophecy of this place, man. America being destroyed completely, turned into a lake of fire, a desolate wilderness. It says, yea, and nothing shall escape them, right? See, 2/3 by people in these heathens that's over here in America that's set for judgment in that time, and nothing's gonna be able to escape. The only ones that's gonna be able to make it through the fire is the Lord's elect. The 144 men that's gonna be a part of His governing body, and 1/3 men, women, and children that's gonna be saved out of it as well. All right, let's go to Revelation 9. All right, to back up verse 2. It's like verse 3. Right, a fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. All right, let's go to Revelation 9. Revelation 9 and where is it? Hey, we start out at 16. Yeah, 16. Revelation 9 and 16, and it reads, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. See, this is going into the nuclear warheads that's inside of the nuclear missile, all right, or any type of fuel, item of mass destruction in the heads of these missiles, right? Well, it says, and the number of the army of horsemen were 200,000, right, going into the nuclear warheads. And I heard the number of them, right, and thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire and of jacinth, man, right? So going into those nuclear warheads, that's in the heads of those missiles, right? Missiles being, the missiles being like the horses, right? That's the vehicles, right? Basically, it says, where was that? Right, and it says, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire, right? It says, and of jacinth and brimstone, right? So let's go into that word jacinth. Damn. All right, so it look like let's go on that word jacinth. I hope nobody calls me right now, because I just basically did this video. I had to redo it because somehow my video didn't save, but it's all good. We do this work for the Lord cheerfully. All right, jacinth. This is the Greek word.
Strong's G 5191.
Damn. Hakinthanos. Or Hakinthanos. All right, it says Hakinth, of the color Hakinth. It says of a red color bordering on black, and that's very important. All right, so let's see what that looks like. Right, this is a jasper stone, and a lot of the jasper stone have they're bordered in black. All right, you know. What also do you see that's bordered in black that has that same type of color, that reddish orangish color? Right, destruction, man. Those mushroom clouds, explosions, right? Nuclear explosions, man, and just explosions in general as well. So it's more so like a red orangish color, you know. All right, but that's going into those nuclear warheads, man. You know, causing mass destruction. You know, plumes, mushroom clouds to push that nuclear fallout into the air, man. You know, particles and dust. You know, fire. You know, different elements. It says and of jacinth and brimstone. It says, and the heads of the horses, see, the heads, right, were as the heads of lions, right, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone, man. See, out of the mouth, right, out of the head of the missile, right, that's what causes the explosion. You know, that's what the explosion is going to be met at. You know, verse. Right, so yeah, let's. All right, so from there, let's go to. Let's go to. Let's go to Revelation 6. Revelation 6 and that's beautiful. I forgot about that up here. Damn. Okay, yeah, this I wasn't gonna grab this, but this Revelation 6 and 9, and it reads, and when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar, right, the souls of them that were slain for the word of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, and for the word of Yahweh, right, which is Yahushua, and for the testimony which they held. Verse 10, and they cried with a loud voice, saying, how long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge? Holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto every one of them. And it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. Right? So these are the ones that the Lord is going to, coming back. Basically, he's going to, he's coming back for his own vengeance, his own revenge, and for his revenge for his people. All right. For the ones who sigh and cry, the ones who, were destroyed through the hands of the heathen, man. Esau being that head heathen, right? So the Lord said, it's his vengeance, So we had to have that understanding, that the Lord didn't forget about us, man. He will be coming to deliver us out of this hell that we're in, and put hell on these goddamn demons. These Edomites, these devils. Verse 12, and I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Right, so when that nuclear World War III come, man, the third war coming quickly, as the scriptures say, right? World War III, man, when these 200 million warheads, man, hit this place, right, as well as hitting the state of Israel, and it's gonna be, the skies are gonna be filled with those mushroom clouds, with those elements and dust, nuclear fallout, right? It's gonna cover the sun up, man. It's gonna make it look black like sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, right? So when you look at moon, just like if nothing is going on, if there's a lot of pollution in the air, the moon will shine like it's red or like a blood orange, right? So what more when you see a bunch of nuclear waste in the skies, man? It's gonna make that thing look bright red, bright orange, look like blood. Verse 13, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Right, so if you look at a fig tree, right, and a big gust of wind comes and knocks off all of those figs off of the tree, that's what it's going to look like in that day. When we look up, and Lord willing, you will be looking up, when we hear the Lord say, come up hither, but 2/3 of our people in the heathen, when they look up, they're going to see those, look like the stars of heaven falling, man. But it's going to be those missiles, right? Verse 14, and this is what proves it. And the heaven departed as a scroll that's going into those mushroom clouds, when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their place, man. See, this major destruction is going to be so major, man. That fervent heat is going to end up rocking the world to and fro, man, making the earth rock. Back and forth. Matter of fact, let's go to second address real quick. And 16. All right, let's go second address 16 and I'm gonna start off at 9. A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? Right. So, who's gonna be able to stop these judgments, man? Who's gonna be able to stop the prophecies of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua? Nobody, man. What's ordained is ordained. That's what's gonna come to pass. So at the end of the day, we gotta have that mindset, man, to trust on Him that, that we be part of the sheep or we be part of the wheat in that day, right? Being Him separating us from the ones that's gonna be destroyed. So who's gonna be able to stop the Lord's wrath in that day? Who's gonna be able to stop World War III? Who's gonna be able to stop the nuclear destruction that's coming to America? Verse 10: He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? Right, just like the movie World at Wars, right? When you seen, I think that was Tom Cruise, right? When they were running, them damn UFO was zapping the shit out them damn people. And that's what's gonna happen when Yahweh Shah show up in his chariot, man. He's gonna be zapping people right along with those missiles dropping down as well. While we're being called up, Lord willing again, Yahweh Ratazan part of that number. He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? Verse 11, the Lord shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence, man. And he's threatening now through his men, putting us out on the highways and byways to push his truth, to teach the people the prophecy, to blow the trumpet to the people, give warning to the people, to do these videos and give warning to the people. World War III, but it's a deliverance out of it. That's the only way you're gonna be able to make it through it. Nobody else can escape it. It says, verse 12, the earth quaketh, right? See, that's why I wanted to go here, because when we were just going into the earth rocking to and fro, right? This is what's gonna make the earth rock to and fro, man. When all those 200 million warheads, when that thing hit, it's gonna make the whole earth rock back and forth, man. It said the earth quaketh, and the foundation thereof, the sea ariseth up with waves from the deep. Man, that's that earth rocking to and fro, as well as missiles like the Poseidon missile that Russia got. That's why I say this place gonna get hit with a lot, man, in that day. Satan 1, Satan 2 missiles from, the Tsar Bomba. Shit, you got the, it's so many missiles, man. Now we got the Flamethrower, which is gonna bring in a whole lot of heat. Damn, that just made me think of a scripture about their eyes burning in their eye socket. I'm gonna grab that next. And it says, the earth quaketh, and the foundation thereof, the sea ariseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also before the Lord, and before the glory of his power. Right? It says, for strong is his right hand, right, that bendeth the bow, right? His arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss, right? It's as strong as Yahweh, man. For one, that's his right hand. This is the Heavenly Father's armory, by the way. And Yahweh is, his right hand. He's gonna bring forth that judgment. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to shoot into the ends of the world. Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come up upon the earth, man. Right. So none of this stuff is gonna stop, man. The World War III is going to happen. Right. It's not gonna stop until until it fulfills its duty. Right. Verse 15, the fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. See, there's no getting away from it, man. Like as an arrow, which is shot of a mighty archer, returneth not backwards. And who's that mighty archer? Right? It's the Most High and his only begotten Son. It says, mighty archer returneth not backwards. Even so, the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. Woe is me, woe is me. See, even Edris knew, he was going to be back in these times, man, to receive his reward, of salvation. Who would deliver me in those days? Right? The beginning of sorrows, which we are in now, and the great mournings, and the beginning of famine and great death, right? So our people were just living good off victuals. Right? Now look at everything. We in a whole terrorist war right now, man. Right? People are in mourning, right? All these proxy wars going around, going on right now. Hyperinflation. America about to be, back at another a major depression. Right? It says the beginning of war. See, proxies, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evil. See. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment, man. See, those things are sent for scourges for amendment, man. The Lord ain't playing, Famine and plagues, man. You see the C-19, you can go on and on with those different plagues, the bird flus, famine. You see, you see how high our prices going up in the food in the stores. Right, verse 20, but for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, man. So all this stuff that the Lord is bringing upon the earth, that we can see clearly, his elect can see, right? They can't see it clearly, they thinking it's just another day, going through hard times. It's like, nah, man, y'all being wicked. And the Lord is going to come back and destroy y'all ass for that shit, man. It says, but for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, man. They're going to continue in it. Even 2/3 of our people. Nor be always mindful, see. They're not mindful of the scourges. They're not keeping up with prophecies. They disregard the Lord's prophecies, right? Even for 2/3 of our people, they rather run to the churches to hear nothing, right? That's what they're hearing, is nothing at all. Their pastors ain't getting them ready for World War III. They don't know the prophecies, man. They're not, Anyway, verse 20, verse 21. It's like, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap. Right, they were just saying this 6 months ago upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth. Right, see? Sword. Right, that's why I grabbed that article, man. It's like wrong thing. Right, these are the evils still growing upon the earth, man. The Lord is going to use these to wipe their ass out, man. But it's a lot more evil than just it's a lot more evil stuff going on. Dealing with children being damn, I don't want to say the wrong thing. YouTube be tripping, but just. It's they still doing sacrifices and rituals and still spilling the blood of the innocent, man. It's a lot more evil stuff that's going on right now, man, in the world, man. Dealing with these religions, dealing with the with our government, it's crazy, man. It says, yeah. It says, even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, going to those ICBMs, those missiles, right, of destruction, right, famine, going into hyperinflation, shit, damn, I lost my train of thought, but going into depression, all of that, man, and great confusion, right, because this place is known for that, man. This is Babylon, man, the place of confusion, man. And then 2/3 of our people are just lost, man, because they're confused because of Babylon, Ultimately, they're confused because of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, that's the spirit he put on them, to keep them, again, the Lord is all about separation. That's the whole reason why he's coming to gather the wheat from the tares, man. All right, verse 22, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and of the other that escape the hunger, right, shall the sword destroy, man. So, again, there's no escaping this, as we were just reading in, as we were just reading in Revelations, right, right, there's no escaping from this, man. All right, so let's go back to Revelation 6. And 15, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, man. Going into those ovens, man. Just like Rick Ross, what did he say, man? He got Wingstop in his bunker. It says, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand, right? They know ain't nobody gonna be able to, you ain't gonna be able to do nothing in that day besides just take your punishment, man. All right, all right, this is Zechariah 14:12, and it reads, and this shall be the plague. Hold on. Yeah, verse 12, and this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. So everybody that has came against his children, are going to take part in this destruction, starting with the banking families, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and the rest of these heathens. It says, and this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. It says, their flesh, it says, their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. Damn. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. Meaning that soul is still going to be, it's still attached to the flesh, man, at that time. To the point where you still going to be standing. Right, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, right, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth, and going into that soft tissue being burnt up first, while the Lord leaves your spirit right there, right. Shit, that's gonna be painful, boy, in that day. Lord willing, I'm not part of that number. Y'all rock the Zah. All right, what was that? Right, let's go to Peter. 2 Peter 3:10, right? Let's go up some. Right, yeah. 2 Peter 3:8. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, man. And that's the problem with 2/3 of our people today. They don't believe that he's returning. Right, but as his believers know that he's not slack concerning his promise. Right, we are just patiently suffering for Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, right, in sincerity and in truth, man. Right, it says, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to the repentance, man. And we understand that in the end of it all, that all the Israelites will be in the kingdom, man. Everybody can't make it. 2/3 got to be destroyed, right along with the heathen, man. They follow the devil, man. They got to be purged, with fire. Verse 10, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night. That's why you got to stay diligent in his truth and stay watchful, man. Be ready for his return, right? In the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Damn, see, going into that World War III, nuclear destruction. Just bombs, all kind of missiles and bombs going off. Tsar Bomber, the Satan 1, Satan 2 shit. You're going to probably see the flamethrower bomb dropping as well. It says, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. Man. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversations and godliness, looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. See, going into that nuclear fallout, those from those plumes of mushroom clouds, it's gonna be a hellacious day in that day, man. Your Lord willing, I'll only have to witness it with my eyes in that day, Yahweh Ratazah. But what should our whole conversation be about today, man? Having that understanding that, we're patiently waiting for the Lord, Yahweh Shah, to show up and to deliver us out of this fucked up ass king, this hell of a place that we living in, and to save us from that up and coming destruction of World War III when we see those missiles in the sky, right? So just having that understanding that he still said he was gonna come get us, man. Let's go to I was gonna go. Let me see something real quick. So like it. It's Wisdom of Solomon 5. Right. Wisdom of Solomon 5:20. And it reads, his severe wrath shall he sharpen. Right? And see, when you go into that word sharpen, it's going into like enhanced or like advanced. Right? So his sword has been sharpened, man. Right? His wrath shall he sharpen, for a sword. Right? So that, going into those missiles. Right? And the world shall and the world shall fight with him against the unwise. Then shall the right aiming thunderbolts go abroad, right? And from the clouds, see, going back into those clouds, going into those chariots again, shooting off those lasers, world at war like the movie, right? Then shall the right aiming thunderbolts go abroad, and from the clouds. See, it's coming from the clouds as well. Those missiles being shot off, as well as Yahweh Shah and the angels zapping the shit out of people. As from a well-drawn bow shall they fly to the mark. And hailstones, see, going back into those warheads, right, full of wrath, right? See, those hailstones that are full of wrath shall be cast as out of a stone bow, right? Going into those missile silos, man. And, Russia got missile silos that can, shoot from one continent to the next within like 30 minutes, right? Shall be cast as out of a stone bow, and the water of the sea shall rage against them, and the flood shall cruelly drown them, right? Going back into, the earth rocking to and fro, right? Causing big earthquakes, causing a lot of earthquakes and big tidal waves, right? As well as missiles like the Poseidon missile that Russia has that they're probably going to use in that day as well to cause major tidal waves as well to the west in North America. Let's see. It says verse 23. Yea, a mighty wind. Ooh, see that mighty wind going into that destruction, right? Going into those nuclear blasts and those nuclear that fervent heat, man. Yea, a mighty wind shall stand up against them, and like a storm shall blow them away. Damn, man, we're just going into the article when it was reading about the flamethrower, and how it Matter of fact, I'm gonna go back to it in a second. Go read it. And like a storm shall blow them away, thus iniquity shall lay waste the whole earth, and ill dealing shall overthrow the thrones of the mighty. Right. Back to the article real quick. It says, the weapon operates like a blowtorch, delivering a slow but hotter and more sustained, right, impact, which the team believes will make ideal for area denial tasks. It says they also believe the weapon would excel at incinerating targets that fervent heat, including vehicles and drones, due to its metal melting capabilities. However, since it is not nuclear based, it bypasses the restrictions imposed by nuclear treaties. See, so they can keep making these more and more and more and more and more, and even selling the information or selling the actual bombs to other neighboring countries, people like Russia. Right? It says thus providing more scope, right, for development by various actors. The CSSC team revealed that the secret ingredient is magnesium hydrate, a powder that stores hydrogen in a solid form. The production of magnesium hydrate was once challenging and particularly dangerous even in small quantities. However, China has poured more money into the substance and has now constructed a factory capable of producing 150 tons per year using a safer and cheaper method. The weapon is detonated using a standard starter explosive that shatters with solid main payload into tiny particles. Triggered by the conventional explosives, the material underwent rapid thermal decombustion, releasing hydrogen gas that ignited into a prolonged high-temperature fireball, according to the study published in Chinese language journal of projectiles, rockets, missiles, and guidance. If fully developed, China will have pioneered a whole new class of thermal weapons capable of firing electrons. Capable of frying electronics, melting military equipment, or torching entire areas, man. Damn. All right, that blowtorch, man. Sheesh. It says the research led by Wang X at CSSC cited, quote, hydrogen gas explosions ignite with minimum ignition energy, have a broad explosion range, and unleashes flames that race outward rapidly while spreading widely. Damn. Right. So after, let's go to Matthew real quick. Let's go to Matthew 13. And we had to have an understanding and keep that faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua that he said he's going to come gather his children, man, his brothers. That's our big brother. This is Matthew 13 and 37, and it reads, he answered and said unto them, All right, so I start off at 36. All right. Then Yahushua sent the multitude away and went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, declare unto us the parable of the tares and of the field. He answered and said unto them, he that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. See, the ones that's out here pushing this truth, right? 38. The field is the world, right? The good seed are the children of the kingdom, right? But the tares are the children of the wicked one. See, the enemy that sold them that sold them is the devil, right? So this is why the scriptures say, ye are of your father the devil, man. Because 2/3 of our people are just like them, like the wicked ones. The enemy that sold them is the devil, Esau, Edom. The harvest is the end of the world. See, the harvest is the end of the world, right? When the Lord comes to gather, to gather the wheat, when you go out there to, gather your harvest. That'll be the end of the world, but it's not talking about the actual world like the world be done away with, right? It's talking about the end of this system, right? Where his system will be being rulership after that, after he tears down the Esau's kingdom. And the reapers are the angels. Seeing Yahushua being that head reaper. All right. Thrusting in his sickle. All right. Verse 40. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned. See, the tares are gathered and burned in the fire. So shall it be in the end of this world. All right. In the end of Esau's time. Esau's kingdom. Verse 41. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, right? And them which do iniquity. All that shit got to be purged out, man. Right? And shall cast them into a furnace of fire. Damn. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth, man. Right here in America. Right? This is not talking about you going to be in hell. This is talking about you being burnt up right here on earth. Right here on the surface of the earth, man. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. And Lord willing, I'm part of that number. Who have ears to hear, let him hear. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hid in a field. That's pretty much the point, though, man. To have the understanding that even though the evils are still growing in the earth right now, the Lord is going to use these instruments of destruction, his weapons of his indignation, right? His weapons of war, his weapons of his wrath, right? to purge the wickedness out of this place, man. To purge the wickedness before the Yahushua kingdom is set up, right? Which is pure righteousness. All right, so have the understanding that the Lord is coming back, to save us out of World War III, to make us whole, right? Make us make us immortal, where the laws will be written in us, where we will never sin again. We'll be sitting in righteousness, man, with Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, and that's a beautiful thing, So again, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to who it need to be edifying to. Shalom to the Lions Den camp, man. Shalom to the elect. Habata and DTA.